But yeah, it's it's really interesting. So, because like I'm at an age and you're at an age where like we grew up as kids without the internet, or like without the internet being a very pervasive part of our lives. Like, I didn't have social media until I was pretty late in high school, and it didn't become, the coffee shop that I was working at, that was the insane coffee shop, didn't have internet. Like, there, large bastard used to come there to work on like coding shit that he was doing because he wouldn't get distracted by the internet at his house or work. So he would come and like fucking write code at the coffee shop because it didn't have internet. And like the idea of a coffee shop that is not used as a place to sit with your laptop these days is a little fucking weird. And yeah, Facebook not existing until you were in college. Like, I I don't want to be alarmist about kids and social media, but like I am definitely concerned about like the whole iPad baby thing. Like and I know that's something that like my friends who work in education have been really concerned about, because it's like not only are like attention spans potentially impacted by it, but like motor skills have been impacted by it for like a lot of younger people. Because the motor skills, like that's one of the things. I have a friend who had an IEP, he's like exactly my age. I think he's 2 weeks older than me, and he was diagnosed with autism young, and he has dyspraxia and a little bit of issues with dysgraphia. And one of the things they still really insisted on was him learning cursive. So he turned in all of his homework typed. He had to carry a computer with him and turned in all of his homework typed, but they still insisted on him learning cursive because even with the dysgraphia, learning to do that was really important for the development of fine motor skills at the age group where you would do that. But yeah, it's yeah, the you're kind of internet's George in that aspect. And like, look, I was definitely on the internet in some ways, and we had a computer in my house earlier than like a lot of people did, but like the internet that I was on was different. It was going to a website that had a Calvin and Hobbes GIF that took 10 minutes to load, and then it was them dancing around to the Snoopy music. Like, but it's a vastly different internet. What was it? I forget what I was reading the other day, but it was talking about the difference between like search engines. Like, it might have been something that somebody had sent as an ask on Tumblr, but it was basically like, what did you do before search engine indexing? And it was, you remembered what websites were. Like, it was before bookmarking was common, because you just remembered the websites that you went to. Animorphs forums, yeah, forums. That's the thing, is like you would go. I got banned from the Hot Topic forums when I was 15. So, but yeah, and they tell you about AOL shortcuts on TV. Like, I did type uphill in the snow both ways. We all did. Yeah, writing down I had a card that I carried in my wallet of the websites of the webcomics that I used to read, that like I wish I had kept, because I can't find half of them anymore. So, however, webcomics are one of the things that I did want to talk about, because I wanted to talk about persistent internet personalities in an era of digital decay, which is something that it sounds like this group has had some experience with compared to young people, because we grew up without platforms, and so, or without platforms being as pervasive as they were, so you had to create a personality that might have either been persistent or totally different between like the various forums you went to. But yeah, changing the way the address bar worked. Yes. Oh God, and yeah, the web rings and link lists. I found so many comics through and artists that I liked through. I read Metanoia. Like, that was the first webcomic that I was seriously obsessed with. R.A.P. Jesse. But I read Metanoia, and the links from Metanoia to the other recommended comics like really were foundational to my early time on the internet. And Jesse, who wrote Metanoia, was Jumpin' Jack Trash on Tumblr, which I didn't realize for the first like year or two I was interacting with him, until I saw that he was reblogging something from Siebes, and Siebes has had the same internet handle for fucking ever. Bye, Laughing Cat. Cheers. But yeah, it's like, you know, the LiveJournal refugees found each other after the fact in a lot of ways. Like, sometimes you didn't see somebody for years and then stumbled across them, but it was like, you know, getting to know these people online in such a way that you did have a persistent identity. There was a post that I reblogged on Tumblr that was a little rambling about this the other day, but it is something that I kind of wanted to discuss because, everybody's worried about the platforms failing and how to find one another. Fan fiction copied over from Usenet. So... yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Large Bastard is older than me and was interested in computers a lot earlier than I was. So, like, he was working for, like, .com companies in the .com boom. Like, he got his first... He talked about being handed the company black Amex card when he was 19 years old so that he could go buy, like, servers and switches for, like, an entire data center install because that's just what people did in the fucking late 90s. So he was doing that in, like, 1998. That was one of his jobs after college. But Linktree's, like, I do like Linktree because it is where people, I think, are going to not instinctively, but I think it's where people are going to look first if you haven't been very vocal about having your own site. Like, I think at this point, enough people who are looking for me online would know, oh, okay, Tumblr's gone. That person has been linking their website forever. What was their handle? Okay, let me go see if I can find that. And that's why I made sure that my handle was my URL. Like, I do think Linktree is where a lot of people would look and like, oh, I should link this because it's, I'm having a moral quandary. I've already linked it on my website. It's fine. Now off topic, sorry, but when you were a kid, your teacher said you were going to learn cursive, but then we just never did. Your parents were pissed. Shout out to public schools in the South. I mean, I'm also a little skeptical of the fact that, like, learning cursive versus learning, like, just normal handwriting, like, just printing is that much different in terms of, like, the quality of motor control that you get. But I do think it's important to be able to, like, learn how to handle a pencil. Yeah, but the thing is, people are always going to try to get around that, and they'll get around it by linking their socials, and their social will include something, or, I definitely understand wanting that to be a non-commercial space, but I'm also a very specific flavor of feral, where it's like... it's more important to me that AO3 is a non-commercial space than that it's like a copyright-free space because, like, all of it works by fair use principles and everything like that. My deal is not that people are profiting off of stuff that could potentially threaten fair use, which I'm 50-50 on. Like, there are arguments that can be had there, but because it was specifically set up as a non-commercial space, people shouldn't be being commercial there. That's not what that's for. But at the same time, maybe people are linking it just because it's like, okay, cool, yeah, sure, their coffee's there, but their Twitter's there, and, their Tumblr's there, or anything like that. Because it could just be like, all right, cool, if we can't post Linktree links, I'll just link my Tumblr, and the first link on my Tumblr bio is going to be my coffee, or whatever. It is. Yeah, I've been spiraling for 25 years, but yeah, I think part of it is that we are also just like I've had multiple people try to pay me for the misdemeanor handle who are like, I need it for this thing, and I'm like, this has been my name online for longer than you have been alive. Leave me alone. And I think the deal is people are just finding the cool names. They're finding the cool names and taking them because it's the cool names. And there are enough people out on the internet now who have it. But the thing that I was going to say and link from my website, let me go. I'm going to leave this open because I want to save it. But I have an Earthlink address older than a lot of people. It was my very first email address was the Earthlink address that my dad made for me when I was 12. um, so yeah, but let's see. This be under recent changes. Also, by the way, somebody was asking if I can figure out how to do an RSS feed of the site, and I have no idea. But I'll see what I can do. Okay, let me see. No. Maniac? No. I don't remember. Okay, let me go to all pages. Because I did one of the talks at LA 2600, and it was about me getting really mad at the guy who sold my car to me and tracking him down on the internet because I was busy being there r/osent, a cyberstalker's review. So this was specifically, and I haven't linked it on Tumblr because this is one of those like with great power comes great responsibility sorts of things, but this is a review of a bunch of the tools that are available on r/osent that it was specifically prioritized by what I could use on my phone while I was pissed at things in bed and like tracking down that asshole. This is the thing that I'm thinking about. It is instantusername.com, checks the availability of a number of usernames on a number of sites. The thing about it is, if you happen to know that somebody has a username that they use all over the place, you can search that username, and then you can figure out all the sites that you didn't know that they were on. So talking about this, I think sometimes people forget that, like, when I'm doing this shit, I'm not really a white hat hacker. I'm not always the nicest. Yeah, it's so, and this view DNS info also is fucking rad. I'm just going to go to it now. So it's got shit like the reverse IP and the reverse whois lookup. I actually ended up using this at work because we were like, oh shit, how many things were registered with Gary's name as a contact address that we don't have listed? Let me search his email address, and oh hey, here are all the websites we didn't know that we had. Very fucking useful. Subdomain discovery, like, this is actually like super useful and not as stalkery as some of the stuff. But the other thing is that a lot of the stuff that r/osent was recommending just sucks. I actually am not a fan of r/osent. Like, this is actually a list of, like, this top list. I reviewed them by the good, the bad, and the ugly. And these are really, really good tools. All of these are free. I do recommend like one paid one later on the page. So these are the ones that like kind of suck. Oh yeah, I guess this is the paid one. This is the one that helped me track down that asshole because I was able to find his fucking info through his phone number. Fuck him. I'm still considering suing him. I just, like, it seems like a lot of effort for like max $2,500. So on the other hand, fuck him, and he should have fear. So hard to say. So here's the fucking thing. I kind of want to sue him. More than I want to sue him, I found out where the auctions he goes to are, so I know where he's going to be at least 4 days of the month. And I have a lot of fucking saved time off. So there's a part of me that wants to sue him, and there's a part of me that wants to show up in person and let him know that he's a gigantic fucking asshole, and I happen to know where his kids go to school, and to maybe reconsider this because he's being a gigantic fucking asshole, and maybe reconsider posting these things on fucking Craigslist, because I keep finding what he's doing and getting him fucking IP blocked. Yeah, $2,500 is nothing to sneeze at these days. It is, yeah, it's Yeah. Um, So the thing that's so frustrating, well, okay, it's interesting because his fuckery is not currently in the public record. His girlfriend is the one who's engaging in a lot of this fuckery. She's actually the one who, like, the account, like, the money was going to in her account and everything like that. And she's the one who's actually owned a car dealership in California in the past and has written a fucking $300 ebook on how to, run your own car dealership in California, which, by the way, she's basically telling people how to illegally run a car dealership in California. So I kind of want to scare her more also, and I actually know a lot about her because she put up way too much bullshit on the internet. And like I have found her Etsy store and I'm definitely considering purchasing one of the 3 things that she sells on her Etsy store, which I haven't described because it makes it too possible to find her through her Etsy store. But I am thinking about buying that and seeing if it actually ships to me. And then filing a complaint against her with Etsy because you can only do that if you purchase something from somebody. But So the deal is it's actually a police auction. So he goes and he buys the cars at the police auction, and it's at a specific impound lot he goes to, which is also part of why I feel okay showing up there to like be, hey, eat shit, asshole. Because it's like, what the fuck are you going to do to me at the police auction, man? As it turns out, I've got your address. You don't have mine. So, and also, you think that I don't have yours, but I do. um, but yeah, they don't care about anything. So it's I kind of wonder how he would react to just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because he also probably would not react well if I mailed something to him. Because again, your fucking driver's license is supposed to have your address on it. Like, it's supposed to have your fucking address on it. Especially if you're doing anything like purchasing cars from a police auction and they're using your driver's license to verify your identity and where you live. And his address is not on his driver's license. Like his driver's license address like goes to the middle of a field. The guy scammed me in August, but there are like 2 years that I can file for small claims court. And at this point, he is not going to remember my names, and I don't know if he's going to have my phone number still, but I'm going to spoof different phone numbers. But if I do place the order from Etsy, he's not going to remember my name, and his girlfriend isn't either. Um, but uh, it's yeah. The glitter dicks like that's like I do kind of like the like. I'm more likely to do something like a butyric acid sort of thing, or like a skunk spray or a fucking coyote piss kind of thing. I'm a little more malicious than that. Um, so yeah, but the other thing about it is it's just like again, he doesn't know that I know he lives there, and he is committing crimes by purchasing he's committing fraud at least by purchasing from police auctions and putting his address down as the incorrect address on his driver's license. And that is a crime that the DMV is actually going to care a lot about because they care a lot about who is buying and selling cars. And it's just figuring out the right person to talk to at the DMV. And the DMV, unfortunately, doesn't have any enforcement abilities. So there's a possibility that I could go report this to the DMV and it does fuck all. But it might be still worthwhile to waste the time doing that because, again, fuck him. But I would also like him to know that fucking around like this is not always going to end well for him. So, oh no, yeah, it was definitely in August. It was recent. And also I am 100%, I do need to, his girlfriend she's a fucking realtor, and she's a notary. And both of those things are things that you shouldn't be doing if you're committing fraud. And especially not if you don't have your own realtor's license and are instead selling under KB Realty, who are not going to be happy with the fact that one of their reps is doing fraud. So, yeah. uh, the IRS might, yeah, that might be. I have so much documentation on this. I have downloaded business addresses. I have downloaded business accounts. I have found that she's connected with like a hairstyling group. She had a fraudulent company that was doing, it was called Ears for Elderly. Is called Ears for Elderly because the Facebook page for it is still active, where she's basically doing like a Uber for home care kind of situation where it's like, you hire her to do errands for your elderly parents, and she apparently also does like home matching for that, so helping like elderly people find a single room to rent, except there's very little evidence that she's ever actually done any of that for anybody, and it seems much more like a fucking scam because everything she does is a fucking scam, and she also has an ebook about that shit. So basically I yeah. Basically, I'm like, what's the correct level of like retribution to fall from the sky? Because they definitely don't think that I'm doing any of this. They definitely think that I'm just one of the other people they fucked over, who, again, they did keep trying to fuck other people over, and I do keep checking Craigslist to make sure that any of their fucking posts get taken down. And that, again, I try to keep getting them IP blocked as well. So they probably don't know why that's happening unless, maybe other people are reporting it. I doubt other people are even reporting the scams to fucking Craigslist, though. But yeah, the thing is, like, I just also don't know that there's any level of retribution that I can do that's going to make them stop doing this to other people. So yeah, it's just the question of like, I would like to do something that like causes at least a single pulse of visceral fear that, oh God, no, I fucked up. Because maybe that feeling will come back the next time they're thinking about seriously fucking somebody over. Um, Maybe I mail something so that it arrives the same day that I show up at an auction. Um, so that he goes to the auction and I'm like, hey, you definitely fucked around on this. And I'm really not happy about it. And I really think you should stop doing this to other people. And then he comes home and there's something terrifying in the mail. I um, well, and the other thing is I don't actually want people to go to prison. Like through all of this, I'm still a prison abolitionist. I just want them to understand that like I'm not going to do anything criminal or painful to you, but I was able to find you. Other people are going to be able to do so too, and maybe they're going to be more mad than I am. But maybe $2,500 is a bigger fucking deal. And also his girlfriend is absolutely no longer going to be able to be a realtor or a notary. So, but yeah, it's the lawsuit still just doesn't seem like a yeah, and some of that I'm sure is just it's talking shit on the internet. It's being big on the God. I'm not going to talk about doing crimes on the internet. I'm not going to theorize about the kinds of crimes that I could do on the internet. Because that's the thing. It's like you can get actually scary with some of the resources at my disposal, but I just don't want to. Like, and also, I have absolutely deployed Large Bastard to be the scary consequence for people in the past, but I don't want to use him for that in this case. So, because that just doesn't seem like it's going to be worthwhile. That just seems like it would escalate things. But yeah, these are a whole bunch of useful tools. I am going to drop the link in the chat if you are trying to do any kind of OSINT stuff, or if you are trying to track people down for stuff. These are actually fantastic, or like some of them are fantastic. Some of them suck. Some of them, like this one, the Meaver Image Verification Assistant, is actually really cool because it does. Let me see. Here's some examples. So, like, okay, cool. Let's stupid, sexy Sarah Palin. Like, let's take a look at this. And so it does various analysis of the images, and like, so you can see like the heat maps where things were changed, that like, you know, errors and pixelation and things like that. It does like a really comprehensive breakdown of stuff to say like, you know, was this photoshopped? Where did this come from? Where did various parts of this come from? And it's really helpful for image analysis. And I think this one also like has various tools that will allow you to do like metadata analysis and things like that. It's just handy. I am absolutely an upstanding member of society who would never do a crime ever. And that I'm definitely trying to help them see the light. But yeah, no, it's rad. It's rad. This is a very cool tool. Bye. Have a good night. Enjoy Vintage Story. Cheers. Yeah, it's I just like a lot of this stuff. It's nifty. You know, it's always good to have a list of, again, you know, talking about persistent internet identities and everything like that. A lot of what my website is a recommendation page, because I don't have an Angel Fire site or a GeoCities anymore. You know, my Tumblr is even on Tumblr, it's like it feels less persistent because of the constancy of the reblogs. Like, that's something that I've always had an issue with, and part of why I've always created side blogs is because if you have an active blog, it's really easy to lose track of things, and because there's no like sensible schema for the way that things are organized, especially if you didn't start a tag schema at the very beginning, and because Tumblr search still fucking blows, like, it's not good for using for that kind of reference. So yeah, it's you know, that's why I created my own website, is because a couple years ago Tumblr started getting, you know, weird and flaky, and platforms started getting sketchy, and that's why people have their link trees up. That's also, though, I will say, part of why I love AO3, and part of why if Tumblr goes down, AO3 is where I'm going to be listing my new social media. It's because, you know what, I have a persistent fanfiction identity that I have maintained since 2005, and people will be able to find me through it. So fandom people are really good at finding each other, and I do really admire that about them. So, and sometimes it's just like, nobody writes that kink the way you write that kink. Oh my god, it's you. I've been looking for you for years. AO3 rules. I love AO3. Yeah. Well, and the racism thing is, that's also something that I find interesting on AO3, because it's like, kind of going back to the concept of permissible racism. Oh, that's what I got talking about. The concept of permissible racism, which is racism that society tolerates that is bad and everything like that. I got aggro about the fact that Hassan Piker's chat was like claiming that this was, you know, actually permitting racism in society. And so as a result, I ended up tracking down the original paper that defined the term and reading it in French because I wanted to know. And I didn't share the link in chat because nobody else is going to read the sociological paper from 2002 in French, and I recognize that, but I wanted to know. But yeah, the thing with racism is like so much. I can link it for you. I can tell you that the guy's name was Rashad Antonius, and it was something like I can look it up. Or respectable. Oh, this is respectable. I can't pronounce it, but yep, there's the body of the text. Okay, so there we go. I don't read French well, but as it turns out, I read academic French okay. I do not have it in Spanish or German, though I would have also attempted to read it in those languages. So Yeah. I do hate the MCU. Nobody hates the MCU like Stucky shippers, and I'm a Stucky shipper, so yeah. Um, nerdy friends, 100%. Ooh, yeah, the fandom not handling the. So the deal is that like a lot of people don't recognize they're being racist. So it is one of those things where it's like it does make racism hard to tag for because a lot of people are not going to recognize the ways in which they are being racist, and so they can't tag for it ahead of time because they're not fucking aware of whatever it is. It's something that does come up a lot with HTTP also in terms of uh, Falcon, Sam Wilson. Like, yeah, there's a lot of unconscious racism around Sam's character and the way that people handle it. And uh, like in a lot of fandoms that are like really gory and really horrible, like frequently you'll find that people who are in those incredibly awful fandoms are frequently people who are like really mature and handle things pretty well. So it's interesting because you'll see a lot more racism in like fluffy conversations around Sam than you do in a lot of the more horrible conversations around Sam because the people who are writing the horrible shit know what's horrible and can frequently identify, yeah, that's fucking racist. The racism isn't here on purpose, and that's why I tagged it, because I'm pointing out that these people are fucking racists. So it is one of those things where it's like I understand like the whole thing where they had the, fight fandom racism, change your icon, change the title of the fic thing, like those sorts of movements seem a lot less useful to me than simply like having conversations with the actual org and people who write fan fiction. But at the same time, I think a lot of those are kind of reactionary and not particularly well thought out and don't actually sort of examine the ground that they're working with. So yeah. Yeah. It's a weird space. Yeah. Um, trying to promote anti-racist discussion within the fandom itself rather than picking a fight with one specific person. Yeah, that can definitely also be a complicated path to navigate. Yeah. Um, I will say it is always healthier to block the 19-year-old than to argue with them and get into a digital fist fight because the 19-year-old doesn't know what they're doing, and they may be very mature for their age and very understanding of certain things, but they're not going to be reachable by the conversation that you're going to want to have at that point. It's so frustrating. And sometimes you can talk to the 19-year-old, mano a mano, and be like, hey, okay, let's and I have met some very young people in fandom who do get things and who I've had great conversations with, but like fighting with them on Tumblr is not going to fucking do it. Especially not in the fucking MCU, which I know you're not in the MCU, but man, when I see bad takes, it's usually in the MCU. But that's probably just because I have a lot of time spent in the MCU for that. Uh, yeah, it's like the unintentional racism, the unintentional sexism, the unintentional transphobia. Like, it is interesting also because like since AO3 is what it is and fandom is what it is, it's like, I'm sure a lot of the unintentional racism that we're seeing is potentially from like international fans who just don't have the same norms surrounding X, Y, or Z thing, or that like some of the stuff that they're presenting doesn't read as racist to us, but might be super fucking racist if you're from the area they're from. It is. Yeah. I mean, Tom Hiddleston's a pretty man. That's a perfectly reasonable person to have a crush on for several. Look, I still have a Captain America blog with the headline hyperfixated on Chris Evans, which is still at least partially true. I think this is not a hyperfixation thing. I think this is a gender thing. Unfortunate for your friends. Understandable. But yeah. Maxing out your block list on Reddit is fucking impressive. Um, it's Captain Dorito is a snack with dashes in between, and it is where I blog about Captain America when I nobody needs to see my fucking Captain America fan blogs, sad reblogs of like Stucky. Oh my god, Bucky and Steve. It's so sad. Nobody needs that. So I don't post about it a lot. But yeah, Captain Dorito is a snack. I still follow a couple people. I like have definitely on main shit talked like some fan artists in a very oblique way because there are definitely some fan artists who I'm like I've got beef within that fandom. Um, but yeah. No, there was that thing that I was doing a while back where it was like when Chris Evans was super fucking popular on Tumblr. Every time I saw a gift set with it was that like when he wore the like teal velvet suit thing. Every time I saw a gift set with Chris Evans, I would do like 5 push-ups. And so it was like, yeah, that actually worked really well. But so it's actually also like the Dorito thing is really funny because it's one of the things that's like a big deal if you're trying to like pass as more masculine. Upper body training like shoulders and traps and things like that. It can add so much to like the visible passing. It's a thing that Brad Pitt did in Troy. He's got such skinny little stick legs, but he looks incredible as Achilles because his shoulders are so crazy developed. So yeah, that Dorito build is definitely one that reads as much more masked than an hourglass. I got too much hips to pull it off, I feel like sometimes, but oh well, it is what it is. At the very least, I do have really broad shoulders. That does in fact help. So, and I don't, yeah, gender is gender. Things is weird. So I like the visuals of the Hannibal fandom. The deal is it's one of those things where it's like it has to hit my brain in exactly the right way. Otherwise, I'm just never going to watch it. And I have a couple friends who are deep into Hannibal fandom. I think we might have a couple mutual in-laws who go over that. Because I think I've seen you in comment threads on somebody's reblogs. And it's like, it's gorgeous. I do really like the art of it. And I like the characters. And I actually, like, I love the original Manhunter movie. But it's really gorgeous. Like, it's really very, very pretty. And I just kind of wonder, like, you know what the deal is Thomas Harris fucked me with the which fucking book was it? It was the one where Hannibal and Clarice or whatever the fuck run. I hated that. Whatever, the one that Ray Liotta was in. So is it Hannibal? It is Hannibal? Okay, yeah. I got mad about it and then kind of like forgot about the series. So, there was that weird movie that came out in like the early 2000s or like maybe late 2000s that was like positing Hannibal as a Holocaust survivor whose sister was like fed to him or something like that. That was actually interesting, but like I don't think of that as Hannibal Rising. Thank you. That has stuck in my head even though I've only seen it once, but I think it's just that it's like, oh, horrible concepts. I do like horrible concepts, and I don't necessarily think of that as canon. Okay. Very funny that that's the only media property your dad ever called trash and wouldn't let you watch. It definitely relies on transphobic tropes. I think that it's incredible. But yeah, that's very funny. My dad is very, very into a lot of media, and the only thing that he ever called trash and banned was the Scooby-Doo television series, the Scooby-Doo Hanna-Barbera series. There were a couple times that like he and my mom came home from like their date night. My sister and I were watching Scooby-Doo with the babysitter, and we got in trouble for watching Scooby-Doo. So very different. And I'm trying to remember the first time I watched Silence of the Lambs with my parents. I think I was probably like 12 or 13, something like that. So, but Yeah. Well, and he liked this. Oh, you know what? There was another one I wasn't allowed to watch. Married with Children. And Married with Children, it was because my parents were like, we think that this is an unhealthy family dynamic that we don't want to display because we don't think it displays like a healthy form of argumentation. Because my parents met at a debate tournament, my dad was an argumentation professor. Like they didn't like the way that interpersonal communication worked in the show and thought it was a bad example for Married with Children. But yeah, Scooby Doo. My parents were just like, it's just bad. It's just bad. It's poor quality. It's shit. You can't watch this. We don't want you watching this because we don't want you enjoying this because then you'll have to watch more of it and we don't fucking want that. They were just fucking snobs on it. Yeah, like one of the first words I learned how to spell was fuck, or realized I knew how to spell was fuck, because my dad was watching The Untouchables when I was like 5 or 6, and there's this scene where he walks down the stairs and fuck you, fuck your family, fuck that, and they, get in the fight on the stairs, and I was like, I know how to spell that word. My dad was like, don't tell your mom. So, but yeah, just, yeah. Because my parents were mostly just media snobs, where it was like, you can watch whatever you want as long as it's not bad. Um, my dad also like had a temper on him, and at one point we were coming back from like my aunt's funeral or something like that, and each of us had like we were allowed to bring, it was hundreds of miles away, so we were each allowed to bring a tape in the car for the ride, and I had a friend who had copied Blink-182's Enema of the State and whatever the fuck the Fred Durst Limp Bizkit album was that was popular at the same time, and that was the one that got thrown out the window. They were okay with Enema of the State. They were not okay with Limp Bizkit. So, yeah. Yeah, no, it was also so once they had forced me to learn how to read, they had to cope with the fact that I could read. And I immediately outgrew like normal kid stuff. So like, yeah, I read the Vampire Chronicles at like 10 because they're like, maybe that will slow you down for at least a day, and they were wrong. So yeah, the librarian when I was 12 years old was like going through and weeding the school library and pulled aside a copy of The Handmaid's Tale for me because she was like, you're the only student at the school that I would actually hand this to. And so like I carried around that copy forever and read it over and over and over, and it was just so yeah, that was I think the first R-rated movie that I remember my parents letting us watch, or like specifically watching us, was like Witness with Viggo Mortensen and Harrison Ford. And it's not like it's a fast-paced movie. It's not like it's really an adventure movie or anything like that. It was just like, hey, we're going to have this 10 and 8-year-old sit down and watch this movie with us because it's a good film and we want to, that we know they like Harrison Ford. So, yeah. I did get banned from reading Stephen King and God, who was it? John Irving for a little while because uh, when I was 14, so actually before the War on Terror, interestingly enough, I both Hearts in Atlantis and Prayer for Owen Meany were like very anti-war Vietnam books, and I can't remember which of them had the phrase in it, but it was the phrase "killing for peace is like fucking for chastity," and I like illustrated that and put that on the cover of my notebook that I took to school like the first week of sophomore year, which was like literally the week before 9/11, and so then I was not allowed to read either of those authors for a couple of weeks. So, but my high school yearbook is behind me. Like one of the problems when we did superlatives for our senior year, it wasn't like, best this, that, or the other, or most likely to do whatever. Like the theme was of the yearbook was just breathe. So it was stuff that was like supposed to be like relaxing or like introspective or whatever. And the one for me was read. And that was because they went to the library and asked who reads more than anybody else among the seniors. And like nobody wanted it to be me because I was on the yearbook and I was actually really important on the yearbook. And so they were like, well, we can't put our own person in there. But like they asked every librarian and they were like, Allie. Because at that point in high school, I would go to school and before zero period, I would check out a Stephen King book. And then I would turn that book in at lunch and I would check out another Stephen King book. And then I would turn that one in at the end of the day. And then I would check out another Stephen King book and read that overnight and then come back again before zero period. So I was doing like 3 Stephen King books a day. I tried to check out like It to take and read for Halloween my freshman year. But Halloween was like on a Saturday and I checked it out on, Halloween was on a Sunday, but I checked it out on Friday. So I was done with it like way before. So yeah, I read really quickly because of having to memorize the fucking word shapes. But yeah, I just don't have any interest in reading these days unless it's like, hey, I want to read about this like weird French shit here. So, yeah, it was also escapism. I was really bullied in high school and junior high school. So it was a lot easier to get into books than it was to talk to people. Yeah, I never did get into the Clan of the Cave Bear stuff. It never quite clicked. But I mean, it seemed interesting. It was really into Animorphs. Animorphs ruled. I really liked Animorphs. I read the Animorphs a lot. So that was the only thing that even kind of slowed me down in junior high school was the fact that the books were only coming out every month. So I would get a book and then I would have to reread it several times that month until the next one came out. And frequently I would also just reread the entire series until the next one came out. So have a good night, Cope. I think she wrote all of them, or I think she wrote a chunk of them ahead of time. Like I think she wrote, because they weren't long. Most of them were like 126 pages or something like that. Like not very long, pretty big text and everything. And I think the deal is that she probably wrote in like chunks of like 5 or 10 or something like that, then divided it up and like that was the portion that were going to be released that year. They weren't. They were written, well, let's see. Nights. Yeah, okay. I mean, you can definitely still get them free online, and it I don't want to say they all hold up, but they hold up pretty well, honestly. Like, it's I don't want to shit talk the BookTok people, but like if you're capable of sitting down and reading BookTok books, which I don't know if that's something that you are, because I'm fucking not. But if you can read those, the Animorphs is definitely at least the same quality. That's mean, probably, but yeah, it's. I was lucky that it finished exactly when it did, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to. I would have walked away from the series, but it finished at exactly the right age for me. So, but yeah, I don't want to be too shitty about BookTok, because like it's good that people are writing, it's good that people are reading. But yeah, yeah, the BookTok like. Okay, my sister, again, my entire family, all should have been diagnosed with like 7 flavors of autism way earlier than everybody was. My sister has like a 110 book a year reading challenge for herself that she's adamant about and like hits every fucking time. And a lot of those books are just shit BookTok books. And that's the deal is like, of course, you're churning through 2 of those a week because they're shit BookTok books. You don't have to fucking think about them. Like, yeah, and yeah, whoever the Cass, whatever the fucking terrible she reads all the shit, and I'm like, our mom was a romance novel reader, and romance novels, there are a ton of romance novels. If you're a heavy reader, there's a lot out there to read. None of it has enough fucking in it for me. which annoys the shit out of me. And I understand and respect romance novel tropes and that there are a lot of good romance novels out there that people like. But again, I read HTP. It just doesn't have enough overlap with me. I need the suffering. um, um, but yeah, that's why it takes you no time to get through them, because it's formulaic. It's not on a sentence to sentence level. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Like, and I know I'm a fucking annoying English lit major. I know. I understand. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I just kind of want to hand, like, if on a winter's night at Traveler, to anybody who is, like, super into BookTok books and be like, please read this and then talk to me. Like, it wouldn't go well. It wouldn't go well, because that's not the way they approach reading. And it doesn't have to be. It's fine to just fucking read books because they're fun and you enjoy them. Not everything has to be an intellectual exercise that requires you to challenge your brain. It's totally cool to just, it's not like, it's fine. It's fine. I don't want to yuck other people's yum. I just think the books are shit. So, yeah. 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 Hard sci-fi is definitely, God, I wish. We can 100% yell about Sarah J. Maas. That's the one who I was not able to remember, who my sister really liked. What the fuck? It's just bad. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah. I like that you clearly had something you were saying, and then you got nerd sniped into yelling about Sarah J. Maas. Dreamer, that's fantastic. Well done. Sorry, that was, hey, can we yell about Sarah J. Maas? I said yes. Spiraling said thank you, and the Dreamer said, I'm one of those people where the book has to at least Maas. Fantastic. Sorry if that was too loud. That was great. She is horrible. Yeah, and that's fantastic. I'm very glad that there's a litfic horror book club. That sounds great. That sounds wonderful. Yes, excellent. No, and it's perfectly fine to to read, like, again. You know what I say I don't read? For a while there, I was reading like 300,000 words of fan fiction a day. And that's just like, just obviously I don't need everything to be intellectually stimulating. Like, it doesn't have to all be perfect, but like, write better sentences, write interesting shit, like, create concepts. I read the stupid, Captive Prince series, again, because I like wumpy, awful stuff. And that was promised to me as wumpy, awful stuff. It wasn't. It just sucked. And in my head now, all BookTok books and Sarah J. Maas books and things like that are the Captive Prince, which is shit. And that's probably not polite enough. Like, probably people are better than that. It's a fun concept, but it's not, again, there is stuff that I want to write, then I just literally think that I couldn't publish. Like, I don't know. I would never find a publisher for it. In fact, it is against the terms of service for several sites that I have looked at for doing self-publishing. Like, there's horrible shit that I write that I enjoy writing and I enjoy reading, and I think that there is merit and value to it, but people do not want it. You're not a disappointment. You're not at all a disappointment. It's fine to enjoy things like that. I do, like, look, I don't believe in, like, pornography addictions and things like that. Like, that's definitely overhyped. But I do wonder sometimes if there's, like, a tendency toward, like, the extreme that, like, gets pushed. And I don't think so, because I think I'm just somebody who was, like, writing fan fiction about My Little Ponies being trapped in Bacta-tubes and tortured when I was 7 years old. So I just think I'm not the audience for it. And I do definitely have fan arts of fucking My Little Ponies being trapped in Bacta-tubes and tortured. So... It's also like I wrote some bangers. I had I the way that I got into honors English classes as a freshman, because I was not allowed into the honors English classes in middle school, because the middle school that I went to, if you did, I don't want to call it a vocational program, but if you took shop or home ec or art classes, you couldn't be in the advanced classes. So I was allowed to be in exactly one advanced class, and it was algebra, but I couldn't be in the honors English class or history class or science classes because I had taken shop and home ec. Because like literally the schedules didn't line up. You had to take music classes or language classes in order to be in the honors classes. So I wasn't on track to do that in high school. The way that I got into the honors classes in high school is I gave my English teacher a story that I had written, which I was 13, and it was, I want to say 40,000 words of a post-apocalyptic rape fantasy, something like that. And the teacher read it and handed it back to me and was like, you should be in honors classes, and never, ever talked to me about the content of the story that I had given her. So, yeah, I just, my brain's always been a little weird. My middle school, so it didn't have honors English. It had the gifted program. It had the gifted and talented program. And the gifted and talented kids were not allowed to, the way that you got into honors English was by being in the GATE program, gifted and talented education. And when I got to that district, it was because we had moved, and I came into the district as a third grader and tested in as a sixth grader and was supposed to skip 3 grades. But they didn't let me because they were like, no, that's going to be awful for her social development. We're not doing that. And then it was awful for my social development because of the bullying. But I also was not allowed to test into the GATE programs because you had to test into the GATE program as a kindergartner. So you could only be in the GATE program if you had been in the district for that period of time. So I didn't get into the GATE program for 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade. And then for junior high, you could test in again. But again, I wanted to take shop, so I couldn't be in that because the classes didn't line up. And so by the time I got to high school, all of the honors kids were like, what the fuck is this? What is going on here? And it's like, hello, I am feral and ruining your life. How are things? It was okay. So it was I had a really weird time in school. Like, that was also, again, everybody in my family should have been diagnosed with whatever the fuck we have going on way earlier. Like, junior high was the time when it was like, I guess if I was going to get really suicidal, that was when it was going to happen. But like, basically at one point we had like, spirit days where we were supposed to dress up for whatever reason. It was like, we had a hippie day or something. And like, I had a lot of like 60s style clothes because this was like the late 90s and there was tons of hippie shit out there. So like, I dressed up as a hippie and went to school and was all excited, and people were making fun of me for being dressed up as a hippie, and it's like, I'm supposed to. Today is the day that I'm supposed to. You're not supposed to make fun of me for my clothes today because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And that was basically when I decided that I was mad at everything. Everybody was always going to be awful to me, so I might as well treat them poorly too. And so I started doing things like painting my face with kiss makeup or coming to school in French maid uniforms, because who gave a fuck? Eat shit and die, everybody. Yeah, that was who came into the honors classes, who they were like, oh, we have created a gremlin who hates all of us and is now kicking our ass at everything except math. Not good at the math. Not at that point anyway. But my parents also didn't like the gifted program because in middle school, and my mom went to one of the parent teacher nights and was going to try to fucking lobby for it. And one of the other parents was there, and they were talking about like doing like more like field trips for the school or something like that, or like, funding a different part of like the education program or whatever. And one of the gifted parents was like, should we really be wasting our like limited educational resources on students who it's not going to make an impact on? And my mom was like, my kid's not being in a class with your kids. Fuck you. And it's like, well, okay. Love you too, Mom. Good job. Yeah. So hello. Yeah, no, it was, Mom did a great job. Mom was fantastic. That was also racist suburb that I live in, the racist conservative suburb that I live in, um, my mom made a rule when my dad got a job teaching at one of the schools he taught at. It's a school in Orange County. And my mom was like, okay, you can take the job. I'm not living in fucking Orange County. Good job, Mom. Fantastic. Wonderful. Because in Southern California, we've got what's called the Orange Curtain, which is the extremely conservative drop down that comes as soon as you go into Orange County. So my mom was like, I'm not living in fucking Orange County. But this is closer to where we needed to live for my dad to have a reasonable commute to the school where he had gotten a tenured teaching position. So we moved to the racist suburb from the area that was closer to downtown LA. And at one point, my mom she got called for like some variety or other of like, focus group or something like that for somebody in the city because they wanted to build affordable housing in the city. And people were really mad about that. So my mom went to this focus group thing, and as it turns out, she found out that like everybody who lives south of the freeway, the people who live north of the freeway have a racist nickname for. And it was another thing where she was just like, this place sucks. So yeah, good job, Mom, on that one. So yeah, my therapist from before, he talked to me at one point, and he apparently, when he had moved here from Minnesota, the story that he told me was that when he moved here, he had two cities that he had an option to live in. And when he was talking to the realtor in this city, the realtor said, well, we do have two black families, but I think we're getting rid of one of them. And it's like, wow, that's insane. So, I'm glad I live in the part of the city that has the racist nickname because it means that I went to the high school that actually had like not just white people. So he was from Minneapolis. So he was from a chill part. He was pretty cool. He was pretty cool for being like a million years old, like, and for me having to be the one who had to educate him on like trans shit. Like he was pretty cool. Yeah. There's always so much fucking backstory. Sorry. Hi. Welcome. Sorry. Yeah, I will say, as much as many things are terrible in the world, I do think we've genuinely gotten better about bullying in the last 15, 20 years. Like, obviously, there are opportunities for people to bully one another online, and those are horrible. But I think that we've actually gotten way better in school settings with not allowing the kinds of environments where the extreme kind of bullying that, like, I dealt with happen quite so much. And a lot of it, like, the people I know a lot of educators, I know a lot of teachers, and the idea that it's just like, you just don't give kids a chance to like be shits to each other. Like, yeah, you don't have people pick teams. You pick the teams so that nobody is the last person picked for the fucking team. Like that kind of deal where it's just, you just don't have those opportunities where it's like, oh, we're going to put this person who gets like made fun of by all the other kids in a position where they might be made fun of by all the kids. Like, we're not going to have them potentially speak up or do anything in front of the class that's going to cause this thing. Like, recognizing what situations lead to the bullying and addressing them. And obviously there are still issues with like people not caring about neurodivergence or like the educators being the people who sometimes set people up for the bullying. Like it's not perfect, but I really do think that things have gotten a lot better in terms of us at least understanding how bullying happens in school and being less tolerant of it. And I will say, I think it's less common in workplaces than it used to be. I think that it's a lot harder to get away with bullying coworkers these days because people are way more scared of getting sued for letting it happen. So that's a something. I got confused when we moved here and like started crying when I first went to school because it like I had come from a school where I was literally the only white kid to a place where it was like we had a couple of Hispanic kids at the elementary school and a couple of Asian kids, and that was it. And it really confused me when I first started school. And then thankfully, like, it got more diverse by like junior high and high school. But yeah, being like really white towns are so sketchy, so concerning. Used to live in Dallas. That's yeah. Um, oh, you've been talking. I'm sorry. um, I may do collab streams at some point. That might be fun once I know a little more of how to handle this. So uh, yeah. Yeah, I do feel really lucky that, like, I mentioned I went to kindergarten in literally City Hall in downtown Los Angeles. Like, it was a kindergarten that was specifically set up for the children of like city employees, and my mom worked at the DWP, so it was not like really a city employee thing, but it was kind of a city employee thing. And so, like, yeah, we had like a really tremendous amount of diversity in the students and the teachers and everything. And then even the private school that I ended up having to go to because of the long daycare period, like, that was in an extremely Asian area of Southern California. And so it was like, yeah, we had um, we had one white boy, and me and my sister were the two white girls. And I think we had a couple of Hispanic students. I don't know that we had any black students. And then, yeah, just a lot of East Asian students. And, like, that was fantastic. So it was just actually really great. It was also a weird school because it had, like, mandatory swimming lessons. But yeah, it was, oh my God, everyone on the email list. I'm so sorry. That is definitely a very good excuse for being brain drained today. Everyone on, ugh, there, I do really wonder if meetings are, I mean, they're obviously a special form of torture, but, like, I wonder if they're useful. Like, it seems like a lot of meetings not only could be emails, but also, like, maybe didn't even need to be emails. Like, I don't know. It's, yeah, yeah. So, but I'm glad that it seems like many of us have grown up with it. Yeah. The- Sorry, the idea of, like, growing up someplace like Utah where it's like an all white school or something like that is just like, how that's so weird. Yeah, and also, like, this again, I'm glad I live in the part of town with a racist nickname, because holy fuck, the white people up in the north part of town, like, really suck and are really white. And, like, I'm really white and I'm saying that. Um, but yeah, meetings are just, we used to have Gary had the worst meeting structure in the entire fucking world, which was we had an hour-long meeting with the entire company every fucking day for him to yell at people who hadn't gotten enough time submitted. That sucked. There was a literally a daily struggle session that was an hour out of the day at the beginning of the fucking day. And sometimes it ran for like an hour and a half. It was terrible, terrible. And it was supposed to be, and we were supposed to get, like, not me, because I didn't do build hours, but the guys were supposed to get like 6 hours in daily. And it's like, well, okay, half an hour for lunch and then two 10-minute breaks and then your hour-long suffering meeting. When are they supposed to have time to, like, write up the shit for the tickets? Like, what are you doing? Gary was the fucking worst. So, and then when the new folks took over, they had a half-hour daily morning meeting that was, like, a little bit of, like, hey, who's doing what? Like, does anybody need help with anything? Like, does anybody have any questions for the group? And that was also, like, socializing, where it's like, how's everybody doing? What's going on? Hey, we've got jokes. We've got this, that, and the other thing. Hope everybody's having a good morning. Cool. Everybody have a great day. Bye. Um, but then that stopped. And so now we have a half-hour voluntary daily meeting where people can go and, like, ask for help if they need it. But, like, now we also don't have any socializing spaces, except that there's, like, a full day running meeting that goes literally from open to close, where people are supposed to, in theory, hang out and like work silently and like have coworkers around who they can call out to if they want to, but like nobody works in there because it just is too fucking distracting. Um, so yeah, it's like I do want to try to find the battle. Like I think we just need a 15-minute daily shoot the shit meeting, and then everything else like get it off the clock. So, um, but yeah, yeah. Maybe I've just worked with people who do terrible meetings. um, Maybe meetings aren't that bad, but yeah. Yeah. Oh man, and it was so bad too because you were getting called out for not having your time entered in front of all of your coworkers, and eventually it got to the point that like one of our coworkers got promoted to kind of a managerial position, and then he had to be the one who bitched people at. It was terrible. It was really fucking awful. It was just off suffering. Um, but yeah. Yeah, definitely that should have been a one-on-one, the 4 hour meeting, because that's such a waste of time for everybody else. Like, it's 4 hours, you got however many people who were in there, and it's like, I could have been doing something while, Alice was telling you about that. um, that's a crazy waste of time that, yeah, should have been one-on-ones. Also, you gotta have one-on-ones because you gotta have the opportunity to shit talk people not in front of them. Yeah, I think we were supposed to have a point to ours, and actually both of the people who had been the managers like were trying so hard to be like, okay, let's do a 15-minute meeting where we go over people's time entries, and then after that, we'll take the rest of the time, which should only be a half hour, to educate on a topic that people might need help with, like DHCP or something like that. So we'll just like plan things so that like, hey, cool, let's talk about these things. And he was just like, no, if you're not billing, then we should be talking about the business. Fucking awful. Um, so your manager yoinked you into a conference room to tell you that he blames you for your coworker fucking up when he was on vacation? The coworker fucking up while the boss was on vacation, or the coworker fucking up while the coworker was on vacation? I will say, I am having more gratifying times at work. It's really, really nice to watch more people fucking stumbling into the pit that was procurement as they realize that procurement was a fucking pit. Um, Coworker fucking up while the boss was on vacation. So the boss has no idea what actually caused the fuck up because the boss was not around and is saying, well, it's your fault because the coworker fucked up. And even though you're not the manager, you clearly should have stopped this from happening. Fantastic. Incredible management. Yeah. Yeah. So actually, other people are setting the boundaries for me in that they have specifically told me today not to work on anything procurement related, though it was my new manager who told me that and then asked me to do two procurement things. But like specifically, they don't want me doing on that. They want me focusing on reporting because they're having me handle lifecycle management and tech debt. And the goal is for the lifecycle management and tech debt to be an interior like money generation engine because we'll be identifying the stuff that needs to be replaced and doing preliminary contacts with clients about it to let them know. And it's fine. It's actually stuff that we should be doing. We should have been doing for a long time because it's like, yeah, no, we have a lot of servers in our system that like have been there since 2011, and it's like, okay, that shouldn't be, not allowed, not allowed. And my opinion on some of this is that if they want us maintaining something like that in the system, they need to pay a premium for it. Like we have normal hourly rates and we have normal contracts and something like that, and archaic hardware maintenance should be its own like additional charge on top of things because you're not the one keeping the server from 2011 working. We are, and we're billing it at our normal rates, and it takes 4 times as long to work on your shit as it does the modern server. So you shouldn't be paying the same rate for that. So that's my opinion. I'm trying to pitch people on it because I would like people to replace their janky hardware with better hardware, or not have us be the ones who are maintaining that hardware that takes up way too much of our time relative to the amount of money we make for it. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Is like we 100% should charge for it. We're also in the stage of like defining what actually is tech debt, and like one of the things that I'm pushing for is that like we should only do always on support for things that are under warranty, whether that's the original manufacturer's warranty, an extended warranty from the manufacturer, or a third-party warranty that will provide like 24-hour hardware turnaround if a drive fails or something like that. And then if they don't have the ability to do that because the hardware is too jank, then we shouldn't manage it. And if we don't manage it, it shouldn't be on their network. So, yeah, work sucks. It sucks. It sucks that we're forced to do this shit. Like, and it sucks that the people who suck are the ones who are way better at getting those promotions or getting into those positions where they can suck and impact other people with their suckage. Like it is frustrating. On the other hand, I would be a shit manager. I can recognize that. I don't have the personality for it. I guess I like there have to be some managers that don't suck. Like there have got to be people who are actually good at this. I think I like my new manager's approach way better than my last manager and way better than a lot of other people on the team. I actually get along really well with him. But like it's hard for me to. Okay, so there are at least some out there. I think the deal is if you're good at it, you just don't stay in management because you're just too good at stuff to do that. Like that whole, it's not those who can do, those who can't teach. It's those who can do, those who can't manage. Like, I feel like people who are actually good at things and good at managing don't want to stay managers. Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird because it feels like it's also such a large part of all of these industries, having this entire like field of people handling people. Oh, that's the manager doing the scheduling stuff is rad. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Micron. I don't know that I actually had managers in the food industry because I don't know that I ever worked in part of the food industry that had enough people in it to need managers. It was all just like very small businesses and criminals. Ooh, yeah. When like big tech is already rough enough, but when like bigger tech comes to take over part, or like somebody from bigger tech comes to like do big tech stuff there, it fucking sucks. It's really interesting watching the enshittification narratives play out online because it feels like it's been at least a part of like the production side of the industry for so long that it's interesting to see people actually catching on like in like social media contexts. Yeah. I can see where pizza delivery would be really like difficult to manage appropriately, but also like necessary to have people in the system who like made things work. Oh God. The platformatization from Intel. I'm gonna say I think all of this started with like paying for operating systems. I blame Bill Gates. It seems like it's safe to blame Bill Gates. Like I mean, I blame other people too, but like you know, the idea of computing is captured and exceptionally capitalist compared to like the earlier days of stuff. I'm gonna go with Bill Gates. Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Like seriously, man, what a fucking asshole. Um, yeah, no, fucking Bill Gates. No, closing software. Fucking arguing for fucking closed sourcing the fucking COVID vaccine, being just an absolute shithead, giving the clap to his wife after hanging out at fucking Epstein Island. Like, what a massive fucking piece of shit in all fucking directions. Antitrust bull, just fucking the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, like essentially being a fucking money sink for. I fucking hate that guy. That guy. Yeah, Papa Requiem, the I don't know if you were on stream the other day when I told the thing that Large Bastard keeps saying whenever I talk about my job, was born too late to explore the planet, born too early to explore the galaxy, born just in time to sell software as a service. It sucks. And also, I am going to go back to blaming fucking Bill Gates for that, because the first time I really encountered that on a fucking hardcore level was 365, Office 365, piece of shit, awful. Yeah, trying to dose his wife with antibiotics. I just read that Microsoft just asked me if I really wanted to send that expletive-laden message. Yeah, if I wrote it, I'm pretty fucking serious about it, Microsoft. So, oh yeah, go to sleep, Jack. Sorry to keep you up all night. Take care. Yeah, Large Bastard is very correct about that. He quit the tech industry. Like he used to be in tech, and I used to not understand why he and a bunch of his hacker friends from the same era like had all gone to work in like these weird different fields, and they burned out for exactly the same kind of reason that I'm burning out, and it's the software as a service bullshit. Um, so yeah, and I mean like it's again it the technological advancements were cool. The fact that you could do more with the graphic interface and everything was cool. The fact that Bill Gates owned it wasn't, and that he could try to like lock in. Yeah. Going back to the meme that I always go back to, el problema es el capitalismo. um, so like yeah, not having to memorize the commands and like yeah, but it's like the particular way that like capitalist capture works in a lot of that stuff and has worked so well for like reinforcing monopolies in tech is like crazy. Ugh, that sucks. I do have to ask, were you fighting Microsoft? What was the program you were fighting Microsoft in? So, yeah, there are definitely places where command line is the way to go. I just never remember any of the commands. I need like a dictionary of them. I think it's the whole ethos change though, the idea that like an operating system is something that you have to pay for, and that software is something that you have to pay for and not something that you participate in. Like it really was a paradigm shift. So I'm asking specifically because I'm supposed to be digging more into Microsoft Access, and the class that I have registered for on database principles is an Access class. So um, Word is a nightmare. Excel can be a nightmare. So I'm just curious because it is a new program that I'm going to have to play with, learn the foibles of, and decide that I hate. I'm certain. So. Windows is up to some bullshit. Um, like it also just like so many people are just making these bullshit little UI changes. Like one of the things that's nobody talks about this very much, but like one of the things that I find most annoying about Windows 11 is that a lot of the icons are just icons. They no longer have text next to them. So it's like if I want to delete something, I have to look for the trash can, not like the word delete. And like obviously everybody like knows what the fucking trash can looks like, but it's just like I think it's an accessibility thing to have the words there, not just the icon. Yeah, the software as a service thing is also a lot more prevalent. That's become the model for like essentially all. You can still get standalone licenses for Microsoft programs, but it's also just like the operating systems don't want you to fuck around with them. They hide information from you. It's hard to like. They've done this weird thing with like the sleep habits that computers have, and so because it's supposed to basically be always on and always fucking spying on you. It wants all of your information all the fucking time, and it takes a lot of effort to make it not steal your information all the fucking time. It's just everything's a listening device these days. Like, and I don't want my operating system to be a fucking listening device. Even if I have the ability to turn that shit off, it shouldn't come that way, and it shouldn't turn itself back on after updates, which it fucking does. I fucking hate Microsoft. I hate Microsoft so fucking much. Um, so, uh, yeah, light mode and dark mode, like, yeah, just, yeah. I do hate Microsoft. And I do need to finish getting Linux installed on this fucking laptop. I'm really worried about it actually because the laptop gets like hot enough that I think it's a problem. like I'm not sure it's supposed to get that hot. Even though it's got like a more powerful processor and a actual real fucking graphics card in it, I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to do that. Like I handed it to Large Bastard at one point after I had like tried to install Linux, and I was like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And he couldn't help me right off the bat, and he like sat there and typed for a second. He was like, "This does get really hot," and I'm like, "Okay, you're the one who deals with gaming computers. I thought this was just fucking normal." So, um, maybe needs to be repasted. Probably needs to be opened up and blown out. But I mean, it was doing that on it was doing that with Windows on it also. It's just getting fucking hot. Yeah, and the other thing is you can also dual boot. You can like there are some programs that I are not going to run on Linux for me, so I do need to keep access to at least a portion of a machine that's Windows. So yeah, I'm wondering also how much of this is the fact that it's like trying to run Windows processes. Like, I'm wondering if it's like, okay, once it's got Linux going, like hopefully it's just going to be like, hey, I don't have to think about so much fucking spyware. um, so yeah, I might. It doesn't get loud. It just gets fucking hot. Like the fan is working. I can hear the fan and I can feel the air coming off of it. I don't know. Maybe I just need to blow it off. Maybe I just need to make sure that it's resting on top of something that gets airflow underneath. Like maybe I need to monitor the processor temp. So I know there are programs that'll run that. So yeah, and I mean like dual boot, like it works for a lot of people. Like it won't work for me because I will 100% forget and I will just start using one over another and then basically never use the other. And that'll lock me out of access to things because I don't know why. I have a difficult time even using different profiles because I'll just start using things in the one profile. and just start adding and adding and adding until it's like, why did I have these separated in the first place? Everything is all here together. That's not great. Yeah, like some kind of nerd. Yes. I'm going to be using, I can't say it. Large Bastard had to teach me how to say it. Ubuntu Studio. I transpose the B and the N all the time, so I think it's Ubuntu. I can't fucking pronounce shit. Yeah, Studio 24.4, something like that. The Numbat, whatever the fuck, yeah. Yeah, the benchmarking. I may need help. Basically, what's happened is I've got I still need to edit the stream of it because it was very funny. I degloved my thumb drive on stream because I was creating a boot install thumb drive or whatever. What's happening is when I open it opens up Grub, which I'm not familiar with. It's the first time that's ever popped up while I've been installing Linux on anything. And it's reading the drives out of order, best I can tell, so it doesn't. We do need a degloving emote. Yeah, here, let me. I've got it sitting on my floor here where it's been since I degloved it. But yeah, there's my degloved thumb drive. I didn't even know that this had an LED on it because the case for the thumb drive is completely enclosed. So I built the boot drive, got everything like checked and everything like that, and then went to pull it out of the hub that I keep on my laptop, and it just stripped off. So, yay! It's a fun little flasher. Yeah, degloving emote would definitely make sense. So, but that's the deal, is I think that it's just not. I have to figure out what order it's trying to read the various drives on the computer, including the thumb drive, to tell it what drive to boot from. And I just don't really know how to do that in Grub, and so I just need to look up the process and actually take the time to focus and sit down and do it. So I think it'll be okay. But that's why it was a start to failure Linux install stream, not a start to finish Linux install stream. So, yeah. But I'll figure it out. It's not going to be that bad. And like I said, I've installed Linux on probably 20 to 30 machines, but it's always been, it's never been Ubuntu. I hope I'm saying it okay. Large Bastard has, but not for a long time. And he's installed Linux on hundreds probably of machines, but yeah, this is just the first time I've installed this distro, and I'm meeting its foibles. So, but yeah, it should be perfectly fine. And I'm specifically doing it because OBS Studio is set up to prioritize doing, video editing and shit. So that's what it's going to be for. So I don't have to make my sad little 5-year-old Lenovo laptop try to do all of that. And I've still got I'm maxing out the RAM on it to 32 gigs, and it costs 16 gigs for an open box DDR4 2666 DIMM. Great. Just the way that hardware prices are going these days is fucking insane. So yeah, it's yeah, the world's on fire. World's always at least a little bit on fire. Holy shit, it is nearly 11. Looking up hardware prices. We do it on Saturdays, and it's been bad. It stressed me out a lot this Saturday. Since it is nearly 11, that means that this has been probably 4 hours of streaming. So I'm gonna bounce and eat dinner and see if Tiny Bastard has eaten dinner, because I closed her out of here because she's been a crybaby today. So I will catch y'all later, and I will see y'all Saturday. If anybody has stuff that they want to talk about on Saturday, feel free to hit me up in Tumblr Ask or put a comment here or anything like that, and I will catch you all later. And I'm sorry I kept everybody up so late. I'll see you soon.